Hello, Sunday morning that I'm making the video, August 2nd. How you all doing? I'm trying to hang tough, but I noticed just a little bit of stress in the body, so I'm going to try to really bump up self-care, do some walking today, um, just rest, try to rest in my mind a little bit. It is true that a lot of injuries and things that we go through can be related to stress in many ways, and so it may be the cumulative stress of the reality of the world that we live in now, because it is changed, and for the foreseeable future it's going to be like this or worse. Now, I said I don't want to chill on the stress, but it's my nature to look at things hard because of my experience. So when I look at the near future, it looks really bad, okay? So yeah, that creates a certain amount of tension that you can't run away from it. That's the deal. We can't pretend and then everything is fine. Excuse me, throat's bugging me. We can't pretend and then it's just fine because we can't see it. Because we can't see it, everyone keeps, well, we just have all these different responses to the situation. Was it Berlin yesterday? They had that big protest where people were just insisting that this is a hoax still. That those people who are insisting that they want their freedom are the ones who are ruining our chances of getting back to it. So I basically stay at home, except I've started to do my walks in the neighborhood. I used to go and walk on this walking bridge. I'm not doing that. Okay. And I made a trip to the record store yesterday and made it quick. Most people were masked. The store does not require masks. They did at first. So there were some young girls in there with no masks on. So I just hurried up and got on my business and got out there. It's mainly the not knowing, okay, that causes all this. But I want to talk about a couple things. So if I ramble a little bit, let me drink some more coffee and see if I can get that together. So the first thing I'll do is go through what I bought yesterday, because I just bought a few things, but I'm glad I went down. I saw on Facebook, yeah, Facebook is an outlet. The social media, I'm not going to lament it. It's what you make of it. I enjoy it, okay? So on Facebook, which is a connection to the world, I saw where a couple friends went out and picked it up right away. It came out on Friday. Now, I'm not a fan, but I saw it, and then I went and listened a little online. I said, this sounds good. I'll grab it. New Psychedelic Furs album, first in what? How many years? Made of Rain. This is the first Psychedelic Furs album I've ever bought. When they first came out, I want to explain my position. When the Psychedelic Furs first hit the music scene, they caught my attention because of their name, but also because there was a bit of hype in the English music press about them. And what I was curious about was to see, is this a real band or is it hype? Turns out it was a bit of both. But the bottom line is that Psychedelic Furs really is a good band, always has been. I'm proud to tell you that my band Digital Sex, we covered a Psychedelic Furs song before anybody knew who they were. We covered their song Mr. Jones. This is way before Pretty in Pink. Nobody knew who they were, but I knew, and it was a killer song, so we did it. This new album is excellent. This is a band from that era, which means a lot to me, that is still relevant, and they're making adult rock music. I'm really impressed with this. It's a band from that generation that still has gumption. Now, the other thing I thought to myself is, if they have one of these, I'll buy it. And they had the limited edition in purple. I noticed the purple. This was one where I said, ooh, that's a pretty purple. I like that. I'd like to have that. And then also, I think that this is going to catch on. Psychedelic Furs haven't done anything much because of the COVID and touring and everything being messed up. I think this will be catching people's attention and grabbing it, and for good reason. This is really good. Besides the music being really big and bold, I caught a bit of the wordplay. This is one of those bands where it's like they don't have a message. It's about being in a band and making music and making rock music and being cool about it. Richard Butler has a cool voice. Yeah, he could. He's one of those kind of people that could say nursery rhymes, and you probably want to listen for a while. This is really good. Psychedelic Furs, Made of Rain. Real happy to get that. While I was down there, I said, well, if there's anything else in the store I'm of interest, I want to get it. And they had a couple more. Thankfully, they got in a restock of their Beatles, because here's a Beatles album that, again, I never never owned it, but I love all these songs. And yesterday it just kind of melted my heart listening to this. Beatles for Sale. It's like, Stephanie, are you watching this? How did we never own a copy of this? We had all the singles on here. We had them all. So other thing is, it's because I never owned a copy of this. It caught me by surprise that it's a gatefold. How many Beatles gatefolds are there? Right? No Reply. Wow. Another one of my favorite songs is I Don't Want to Spoil the Party. I love that song. Words of Love. I'll Follow the Sun. Are you kidding me? Oh, Lord. This is medicine for my soul. And I see that George Harrison's son, Danny, just turned 42 or 43 yesterday? I got one more. Stephen Mallender from Cabaret Voltaire, Dada. Now, I had been listening to this online and thought it was pretty good. Came out late last year. Really like Cabaret Voltaire. Liked him from the beginning. Once again, I can brag, not that I need to. I have their very first record. I believe this is the second record put out on the Rough Trade label. I bought this right away, and I had to mail order it because it never came to Omaha. But I was reading Enemy, Melody Maker, and all that stuff, and I just knew. It's that, ooh, okay. And when it came, it was like, yeah, I love this. I sold a bunch of other Cabaret Voltaire records. I did have them, but this is really good. Body beat is what I call it. Dada. And Stephen Mallender is the guy who's the voice of Cabaret Voltaire. So I've always liked his voice. And this is just really, really, really good. Body beats is the way to put it. Yeah, they had the clear vinyl limited edition. I said, yeah, I'm jumping on this. I played this all the way through twice. I just bought it. What does that tell you? And when it comes to electronic music and the way that I make music, electronic music with a beat, is this are Cabaret Voltaire, once they went beat-wise, are they an influence on me? Well, apparently so. Not consciously, but as I was listening to this and really getting into it, it's like, yeah, this is all up in my wheelhouse. Not just Yellow Magic Orchestra. and Kraftwerk, they're big influences. Technodelic is the one I recommend to people. But I'll say this because I think if you're watching Dave, it's no big deal if you never get Yellow Magic Orchestra, because the band started out as a joke and they caught on. And when they first started, I didn't like it. Their first album, I didn't like it. Still don't really. I didn't get that it was a joke until much later. So I bought one used album, and I knew that I was getting something that isn't exactly what I want, but it's like, it's used, the price is down. I've been reading about this. It's an old album that's been reissued. Short Cross, Arising. American band, I think out of the Southwest, possibly. This is a boogie rockin' album, but the thing is, it starts off with a really solid song with horns and everything, just really good, bigger than just rock and roll, and then it just kind of boogies down for the rest of the album. I imagine that one song might have given it its collector's status, but when I put this on yesterday, I put it on side 2 first, and sure enough, it starts off just boogie, really, really disappointing. But then I turned it over, and the first song on this first side, it's almost like a different band. It's like real good. So thankfully, it wasn't a dud. Another Cabaret Voltaire that was laying with the other one. I used to have all their early singles. I sold them. Right quick, I want to talk about something that came up online, but one more record that I've been playing. This is another record that I just got, and this is fantastic. Linda Perhacs, I'm a Harmony. Oh man, this is what I want. This is what I want. This music is cosmic, it's ethereal, it's beautiful, and I love the words. Some of the words are kind of, hippy trippy. Let's get together any kind of weather. Those kind of lines, like, oh, are you kidding? But the sincerity of the overall, where she's coming from, it's like, you are my kind of people. You can see it in their eyes. That's my kind of lady. This is beautiful. This is probably the most enjoyable, one of the more enjoyable albums I've bought since COVID. I ended up playing this all the way through a couple times last night, not doing much of anything, just sitting here nursing this throat. Linda Perhacs. So something came up online that surprised me, because I pride myself in being a nerd about music and knowing things. But I found out yesterday that Martin Gore of Depeche Mode is black. Did you know that? Turns out some people did know it, but I didn't. Now, I'm not a dedicated follower. I have some of their records, so let me grab a few. Okay, I'll just grab these. There's some Depeche Mode in here. That's cool. Now, I went ahead and, after I saw it, Orlando Greenhill is a black musician who I don't know, but we're friends online, and he has some history that I'm learning about. But he's been posting, he has a group about black rock musicians, and he posts information. And this one caught my attention. It says, Martin Gore's black? So I looked it up, and sure enough, his dad is African American. The other thing about his story, which is interesting, is apparently he didn't find out, because you can see that Martin Gore does not look black, and that he didn't find out till he was an adult. Apparently he wasn't raised by his African American father. But there's a lot of reasons why I think this is important to bring up. But let me just show, I have some Depeche Mode singles. I liked them, but I never got into trying to collect them because they have so much stuff. Here's a remix that they did, Personal Jesus. These I have, Condemnation. I have this because I got these for $1. I got a bunch of Depeche Modes for $1. I Feel You. Walking in My Shoes. I've always thought that there was something about the sound of Depeche Mode, I couldn't put my finger on it, that really, really, that I feel. And I think that the fact that Martin Gore's got that African American blood in him is part of it. It's part of the secret of the sauce. Makes sense to me. Some great reward. I've got this. Policy of Truth. Yeah, I like the band, but like I said, mostly I get these. Here's a single I got early on by them, and then I just made that. Never Let Me Down Again, but yeah, I got this as a promo when it came out. It's called The Heart. Love this song. So yeah, now the thing. See, yeah, I've got. Look at all this. See, I can do this with a lot of the groups that I talk to you all about. When I show you one record, that doesn't mean it's the only record I have. A lot of these groups, I can show you a bunch of their records. A couple things about this before I stop. So, I understand that Martin Gore didn't learn that he was black until he was an adult. And there's such a parallel in my life because one of my bandmates, Aaron Gum, who's in Indrima, and he was in my band DHX too. And he's also my tech guy for Higgs Corner. He's a tech whiz. He was raised white because he was adopted, and then he found out, I've told the story before, that he found out after we became friends that he's black, that his half-sister had been looking for their father, and she found him. Here's what's even weirder. It turns out that I know Aaron's dad. Now, what's funny is when I met Aaron, Aaron didn't look completely white to me, but he didn't look black. I thought maybe he was Chinese or something. But then when he came to my house one night for a rehearsal and told me this story, and asked me, do you know an Oren Belgrave? And then once he said it, I looked at him and said, that is your dad. You're black. It's like, how did I miss it? He looks like his father. But there's a parallel to Martin Gore in that I have a personal friend who was raised white and found out he's black. I think it's interesting, and I've talked to Aaron about this a couple times since then because it's an interesting perspective that he has, being raised white, finding out that he's black, and now being able to, from the first person, observe what that means in this world. Interesting, huh? That was cool to find out. Okay, this is going to take a long time to upload, but I wanted to share that. I'd like to share more, but oh man, people, hold on. This world it's just really setting in just how bad things are, but we're not doomed yet. Not yet.